What's going on, folks? I'm AutoMattock. Abigail is out, and day one we're going to talk about some of the fundamentals, zoning, block strings, some of his knockdowns, and the anti-air. So these are the four things we're going to go over. So first thing we should probably start with is the anti-airs. It seems to me that forward hard punch is like default. This is the button you use, right? So if your opponent is jumping off of this forward fierce, you have a few options. My suggestion is to use the medium punch giant flip, which is this one here. We'll go into that a little bit more later. You can do the hard punch giant flip, that'll do more damage, but as you can see, sometimes it flips. You can also do another forward hard punch. It changes based on the spacing. So if they anti-air, if you're too far, your second hard punch is not going to work. So again, I suggest doing the medium punch giant flip for now. Alternatively, for anti-airing, so the forward fierce, it seems like the startup is a bit slow. I'm assuming that the V skill becomes active on the third frame, just like maybe the other parries in the game. So if you see a jump in late, maybe then you can use the V skill. Now the V skill will also do less damage. Let's see if I can record this really quick. The V skill will do less damage, but it will also contribute towards your V trigger bar. So there is some reward in that. So just the same, you can cancel that. Cancel it off of anything. Cancel into anything, including your run. And after that, you can do the dynamite punch. I think you can do something like, maybe if they're in the corner, you can probably do something like this. One hard punch. And then EX Nitro charge, and then dynamite punch. That might work as well. But I think just for starting off, the best thing to focus on is just using medium punch giant swing. Second 7, giant flip. Bada bing, bada boom. So I think that about sums it up for anti-airs for now. Actually, crouching hard punch, I don't want to forget. This will crush counter. Well, it's possible for this to crush counter if it collides with their normal. I don't want to spend too much time trying to demonstrate that, but yes, this is a crush counter normal, and it can anti-air from that extended angle where your forward hard punch will not reach. So this will have more distance than forward hard punch, as you can see from like right up. Just to give you a rough idea. So if your opponent jumps at an angle from like right about here and your forward hard punch will not hit them, your crouching hard punch may do a better job. And that's I think is the anti-airs for Abigail. Yeah, I think that all covers it. Maybe you can anti-air super, maybe. Getting ideas while making a YouTube video. Welcome to the AutoMattock Laboratory. So those are anti-airs, right? So now that you have that information, and I usually do this the other way around. Usually I try to explain block strings first and then knockdowns. But since, I was about to say Hugo, but since Abigail, I feel like what he's going to struggle with the most is getting to that position. It's going to be harder for him to get to his opponents. So I feel like it's better to be able to defend yourself and then focus on. So with that in mind, I say the next step is to identify what zoning really is. And right now, it's hard to get the best idea without knowing the real startup of his normals, such as crouching strong, medium kick, hard punch, and roundhouse. I believe this is punishable on block, but it may be okay at a distance. But these all seem to be his mid-range normals, right? His crouching roundhouse, obviously punishable on block. If you have V-trigger, there's some things I may be able to show you with that later. I think the first hit doesn't knock down, so you can link off of it. That's going to be really good. And then this is going to be really interesting too. To use this because it has armor, right? If they do an EX, again, really interesting. But yes, the zoning normals, in my opinion, as of right now, crouching medium kick, crouching strong. Now these are the same normals you want to use to keep your opponent, to keep hitting them, to keep exchanging blows. So maybe like Ryu is throwing a fireball from the distance, you're going to be able to counter hit him with this. But now, if your opponent is looking for these laggy normals like crouching, medium punch, crouching strong, maybe even standing roundhouse, standing hard punch, they want to jump at you while you're doing that to make it difficult for you to anti-air or even punish you for doing those normals. So that's why it's important to know what ranges to use forward hard punch, crouching hard punch, and when to use parry as an anti-air. You know what's going to be interesting? If your opponent empty jumps at you to bait a parry, then you can command grab them. I think that's going to work. I think that's how that's going to work. Sometimes. What else do we have? So yeah, that's anti-airs. We have some zoning. Now I want to talk about the block string situation. So when you do, maybe you get a jump in, maybe your opponent's too close to you, and you find a way to get through their block strings or something, right? You get a knockdown. Now, I don't even know where to start. There's so many things, right? I think crouching short is the first thing to talk about because it's as fast as normal at 4 frames. It's also +2 on block. The reason why I know this is because when I have the opponent set to do a 3 frame, this will counter hit them, right? That will counter hit them. So it must be +2. If it was +1, then it would trade. It would trade because there would be a 3 frame window and we're using 2 light attacks. They would happen at the same time, but it's beating it. But since it's +2, that means I'm able to throw them just the same. I can, as long as I'm in range, if I'm up close, my throw will then be in the same, it'll be a block, because those are 5 frames. And because of the priority system, my throw happens on the exact frame of their 3 frame normal. So this works out. But this is how I know that his command grab is 6. Because my command grab gets counter hit from her standing jab, but it does not get counter hit by her crouching short. See what I mean? So against characters without 3 frame normals, if you do crouching light kick into command grab, it's perfectly fine. It works in terms of the reversal normals of your opponent mashing. That works just fine. So then what you want to know is what happens when you command grab them and throw them, right? Because now we have a valuable tool. We know off of our fastest normal, we can throw them, and we might be able to command grab characters without 3 frame normals, but more so the throw, right? So then the question is, what do I have off of this throw? Turns out not really much. I think you can do crouching roundhouse, which would be unsafe. So if you throw them and then you do crouching roundhouse, that will crush counter them. I think. Should be right. Crouching roundhouse. And you cannot activate V-trigger off of that second hit though. So throwing outside of the corner is not really that beneficial. When they're in the corner, however, you are closer, you don't have to dash, so you can do some manual timing. I think all of your crush counter buttons, standing hard punch, probably one of the best ones because you get the highest reward. Standing roundhouse, I think crouching roundhouse would work just because it works just the same outside of the corner. So yeah, off of this crouching short, when you throw them, unless they're in the corner, you really don't have that much. But you can, and the back throw is no good, right? The back throw is no good in terms of knockdown frames. Looks funny, but you're not going to be able to catch up to them. Even, I'm not sure in the corner, I won't say much about that. But, in terms of a block string, of actually hitting your opponent, if you do 2 crouching shorts, and one of those crouching shorts counter hits them, I find that the best combo is to do standing jab into Abigail Punch. Now the Abigail Punch, as you can see, makes your opponent go very far away. So if they back recover in this situation, you're not going to be able to catch up to them. This may be one of the weaknesses of Abigail, where his hit confirm combos, you don't have much Okizemi outside of the corner. So when they back recover, there's not really much you can do. If they're in the corner, you do, I think, I remember, it's crouching hard punch with crush counter, right? Right? Yep. So that's if they back recover and then mash. If they do normal recover and mash, obviously you're crouching hard punch. No good. Now the good thing about that is that crouching hard punch can combo into giant flip, hard punch giant flip. Whether it crush counters, and if your opponent is blocking, this is also +2, just as crouching short is. So what this means, that only in the corner though, because there's less pushback, you can throw off of the giant flip, because you're +2. But you cannot command grab, again, because it's too big of a window, right? Too big of a window in between this. I get counter hit. But again, this is +2 on block. Since it's +2, my crouching short will counter hit their 3 frame. So, in terms of the frames, as like being advantageous, your opponent still has a reason to not match if they're in the corner. So I think this is going to be really good in the corner. Actually, now that I see it go over crouching opponents, that's gonna cause a problem. Let me see if I can get this to hit consistent. I think she's jabbing. Let's see if I do this off of a normal. Okay, that's better. That's really odd. So if I do it off of a normal, it will be fine. But if I don't, it just jumps over them. Anyways, So yeah, that giant flip, it's good on block, and then the other important thing that I want to point out about that giant flip is that it's one of the better knockdowns that you can do with Abigail in terms of how long they're on the ground and your ability to melee them. So remember how that crouching hard punch off of the EX Abigail Punch, it only really worked when they're in the corner because it just makes them too far away to really have a follow-up. But when I have that giant flip, and this is why I mentioned at the beginning of the video, anti-air going into giant flip, I'm much closer to them. So let me set this up. And all the giant flips have the same knockdown in terms of how long they're on the ground, at least as far as I can see. So when I dash up now, my crouching hard punch is in range. So now I can do something like crouching hard punch, giant flip again, crouching hard punch, giant flip again. Of course, you know, this requires a bit of you know, participation from your opponent. And then if there's a normal recovery, I think standing strong will work. Alright, standing strong will counter hit. And standing strong is good in itself. I'm just kind of rambling all this information. Crouching short, let's go back to that. Crouching short, we got the block strings. Now let's talk about standing light kick. Standing light kick is 6 frames, right? Let me check the data. Well, I think it's 6 frames, right? But the good thing about standing light kick is that on block and on hit, it will link into the command grab in a way that your opponent can't mash out of it. And this is somewhat unique. So on counter hit, maybe not so much, right? That'll whip, so that's no good. But when it hits, the command grab will be like a block string. If they try to mash while it's hitting them, it's good. Same thing with the guard. Standing short, we're doing a attack. Standing light kick will be able to grab them, and you can even use the hard kick command grab. That works just fine. And I think you can do normal throw as well, but in this situation, this is more valuable. So we got over that. Standing strong. Standing strong, you can confirm into the back hard punch. Singular link. So if I put my opponent on random guard, right, I can then link back hard punch, confirm off of it. Confirm off of that standing hard punch, similar to Ed, right? Ed, you do standing medium punch, confirm into low medium kick, and then do psycho upper. The same way you can do with Abigail. Standing medium punch, then confirm into back hard punch. Then off of that, this back hard punch knockdown, let me see. The live demonstration of hit confirming it, right? I got first attack only. Now this knockdown is almost as good as giant flip, but in terms of how close you are to your opponent, then I think it's probably the best knockdown. So now see what happens when I knock them down. I don't even have to dash up, but when I do, I still have advantage. This is versus their normal recovery. And again, this is something you can link off of standing strong. Hit confirm. And again, your crouching short will be medium against the normal recovery. I think it's standing medium punch for the back recovery. Yep. And then you can do it again, right? Standing medium punch. Yep. Back round. Yep. Perfect. So we've gone over standing medium punch, crouching light kick, and standing light kick. Standing jabs, the chain standing jabs, these are also very good. These are +3 on block. The standing jab is right here. I know this, yeah, standing short is 6. The reason why I know it's 6 is because it's trading with a 3 frame. And if I do another standing jab, that's 5. So that's why this is counter hitting here. So now that I know my standing jab chain is 3, that means on block I can go into a cover. This is so crazy. This is so crazy because by the time you know your standing jabs are hitting, maybe this is gonna take some effort to really be able to do perfect. But I think you can do standing jab, and if it's hitting, go into Abigail Punch, right? Maybe light punch, Abigail Punch. So if it's being blocked, then you go into the command grab. Or you go into a block string, right? You can do it again. But maybe you can't can't link anything off it. So there's probably some things to work on there. Yeah. You probably can't do it just yet. Oh yeah, that's +3. That's ridiculous. Tons of information. Oh yeah, the V-trigger activation. That's probably something I should say for another video. For example, crouching light kick activation, then do the standing light kick, and then go into the crouching grab. I think between standing and crouching light kick, that's where the experimentation is going to be within the most. And yeah, I'll leave it at there for now. I hope that was very informative and enough to get you started on playing Abigail as far as the zoning, anti-airs, and what to do when you have advantages. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yep, I'll be streaming again tomorrow, twitch.tv/AutoMattock, AutoMatto. I got my last name for a government. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for stopping by. I'm AutoMattock.